Hi, I'm Dave Johnson. In my job, I get asked questions. I get asked lots of questions. Then I make videos where I answer them. Welcome to I Get Asked This a Lot. Today's question is, how do I migrate VMs to my new AHV cluster? Hey everyone, Dave Johnson with CyberNorth with another episode of I Get Asked This a Lot. I got a green screen, pretty excited about that. So I'm going to be playing around with that, just doing something basic for now. But in today's episode, I am going to cover a question that I do get asked a lot, which is customers asking, hey, how am I going to migrate my VMs to a Nutanix AHV cluster? And I think it's a little bit more, if you are a Nutanix customer, you have access to a product called Nutanix Move, and Nutanix Move could be used to do just that, migrate from, say, VMware or Hyper-V to AHV. You can also use it to migrate from VMware to VMware and stuff like that. But we'll focus in on VMware to AHV because that's what I have in my lab. So to get started with that, let me share my screen. That's what I need to do. So first things first, we need to download Nutanix Move. So you'll sign into the Nutanix support portal and go to downloads and Nutanix Move. And from here, you have a few options. And there's user guides to all of this stuff. You can follow them. They're super easy to follow. You can download, if you want to put it on VMware, you can. You can just download an OVA and deploy it. I'm going to be deploying it on AHV. And if you download the move zip file for AHV, they give you a nice little utility that I'll walk through that will deploy it for you. I already have it downloaded and unzipped onto my utility server in my lab. The other thing that I want to walk through is a little bit of prep work that we'll do in AHV. Go to settings and go to network configuration. And we want to have a network that one of two things, either you have DHCP or you have an IP address management enabled network in AHV. I have one of those. I like it a lot. That's what I'm going to use. You specify the VLAN, network information, and you're basically creating DHCP, right? And then you set up some pools, IP pools to use. So that's what I'm going to do to help with the deployment. If neither of those are an option, you can set a static IP to your Move appliance. I'm not going to go over that today, but it is easy to do. So once you have all of that done and you've downloaded Move and you've unzipped it, we need to run the executable. So what we're going to do is CLI Windows exe. Again, this is all in the user guide. So you run the executable -C and then specify your Nutanix cluster. And hit enter. And it's going to ask you for your username. And something didn't work. Oh, it's probably because I need to run this as administrator. So let me try this again. Run as administrator, yes. Okay. Username, password, and we will get connected. So let's go back into Prism real quick, and I'm just going to copy this to my clipboard, and we're also going to need to know where we're going to store the VM from a storage perspective, what storage container we're going to use. I'm going to go ahead and use the default container. That's what everybody's going to have. By default is a default container, so I'll put that onto my clipboard. Now we just need to deploy the move VM. So we say deploy VM, VM container, and hey, tab completes because my clipboard's not working. VM network, IPAM network, perfect. And then we hit enter, and it's going to deploy the VM for us. It's basically orchestrating the stuff that you would do if you downloaded the QCOW file. This file just has the QCOW file in it, and it's going to upload it into the image catalog, and then it's going to create the VM for us and power it on. So that's pretty slick the way that they did that. This shouldn't take long, so I'll try to, I don't know, entertain you. Today's Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th. We just got our new puppy last night. We have 3 dogs now. We have 2 Morkies. They're Maltese Yorkie mixes. Harry, and he's about 5 years old, and Katie, who's about a year old. And then we decided to get a standard poodle puppy, and it's pretty funny. He's what, 12 weeks old or something like that now, whatever it is that they have to be before you get them. And he's about as tall as one of our Morkies, Katie. But anyway, Friday the 13th. It's been a fun one already. My laptop, I got a blue screen of death on my laptop this morning. That was fun. And then Harry decided to jump up on an end table and knock over a lamp and broke it. So that was fun. I'm sure something's going to go horribly wrong in this video. It'll probably crash my Nutanix cluster for some reason while I'm doing this, because, you know, that appears to be the luck that I'm having today. But so far it's going okay. It uploaded the file. The VM powered on. It got an IP address, and now it's just waiting for the services to start. So this is actually going really well. And look at that, it opened the browser for us automatically. So that's fantastic. End user license agreement, yeah, I'm going to accept it. You can read it if you want. And then we're going to provide a password. Yeah, why not? I'll just let Dashlane generate a password for me. And done. Oh. There we go. That was scary. Okay, so there we go. We've signed in to move. Now we need to add our source and our destination environments. So I'm going to go ahead and pick VMware as my source. I'll just a friendly name, VMware, and then FQDN for vCenter. Username, use a service account. I'm not going to use a service account because it's my lab and I don't feel like it. And didn't like something. Didn't like my username. Okay, and then we're going to add AHV, Nutanix AOS, Nutanix. And there we go. We have added both VMware and AHV. And as soon as this finishes inventorying the AHV environment, we will be able to create a migration plan. So there we go. I'll create a migration plan. We'll name it. I get asked this a lot. And then the source, of course, is VMware. Target's Nutanix. Target container, I'm just going to pick the default container, and then we can go through and pick the VMs. I'm gonna pick my 2012 R2 VM. You just click the little plus, then it shows up over here. You could obviously pick as many VMs as you want. Go ahead and click next. It is currently in VLAN 10. I'm going to move it to VLAN 10. I'll go ahead and pick a test network. I'll pick VLAN 20 as a test network. And we'll click next. And obviously the test network, it's optional. You can use it to test the migration before you actually do the migration, right? We're gonna need to provide user credentials with administrator privileges for this VM because it's going to install the Nutanix guest tools so that when it boots up in AHV, it has the drivers that it needs to see the disks and the NIC and things like that, right? So again, use a service account just like I am. I am a service account. If these were Linux VMs, we'd provide Linux credentials. You can override individual VM settings. So if you have VMs that you're moving that are in different domains, you can specify those really easily. Time zone, I want US Eastern because that's where I am. I'm going to retain the MAC address from the source VMs. It gives you the option. It's cleaner. I say go for it every time. And we will click next. Everything else we can keep as default. I don't need Dashlane to save anything here. And then it's going to start doing the work that it needs to do, right? It did a quick check to validate that my username and password is going to work to deploy Nutanix guest tools. And there we go. Now we have this migration plan. You can see the screen looks a little bit differently. If we wanted to create a new migration plan, we could. We click new migration plan, go through all those steps again. Done. Couple of things to be aware of with Nutanix Move is it will do 16 VMs at a time, right? So if you have a migration plan that has more than 16 VMs, it's only going to allow you to fail, or it's threaded in such a way that it will do 16 concurrently, right? And as it finishes one, it'll add another one to the queue, so to speak. So just for planning purposes, if you're using this to move a large environment, keep that in mind. It's installing device drivers right now on the VM, and that doesn't require a reboot. The reason it doesn't require a reboot is because when you do the migration, it will reboot. So then they will be there. So this will probably take a second. I don't really have much to entertain you with at this point. So I'll probably pause my recording, and if anything interesting happens in the meantime, I will resume it so that you can see. So just a quick update. It did install Nutanix guest tools in the VM, and now it's starting to seed the data to the AHV cluster. We can see here, I've opened the console to the VM that I'm moving, and you can see the Nutanix VirtIO drivers have been installed. So that's just some of the prep work that it does so that everything works when we fail it over or migrate it or move it. Would probably be the best thing to say. Okay, so the seeding is done, and now you can see the status. What it says is periodic data sync is in progress. We can cut over at any time. It gives us the estimated cutover time, which is really just saying it looks at how quickly the data is changing. So think of it as kind of an RTO. And we can see here, going back to the dashboard, this is what it looks like. We can select this migration plan. No, we can't. We go into it. We can abort it. We can pause it. We can go in here. There we go. So now we can either cut over, we can abort, we can create a test VM, right? So let's try that. Let's create a test VM. Yes. And let's go into AHV and see what's happening. Clean this up. And we should end up with a VM. There it is. Let's go back and look at move. We can make sure you guys saw that. I clicked on view test VM. It's going to bring us to our AHV console, which I have open on my laptop. This is powered on. Launch the console. And we're at a sign-in screen. So from here, we can do any testing that we need to do. Let's just assume that we've done all of our testing. You know, now we're ready to cut over. We can recreate the test VM. We can remove the test VM, right? So I'm going to go ahead and remove the test VM. Removing test VM. Go here. You can see these tasks are showing up. The test VM is gone. It's ready to cut over. So now we can pick this and cut it over. So we can see here what's going to happen. Source VM is going to shut down. Virtual NIC's source VM will be disconnected. It will have a note added to it. So let's go ahead and continue. Let's take a look at what's happening here. It has powered off the VM. The NIC is disconnected so that, you know, it's not deleting this VM, right? So if we needed to fail back to this VM, we could, right? There's a note here, VM migrated to by Nutanix move, migration plan, the name of it. So tells us, so we have an audit trail of everything that happened. Let's go back here. Here's my VM. It has been moved over. It has the same name as it did in VMware, has the same resources, and it will end up with the same IP address. So let's go ahead and launch the console. It's already powered on, right? The reboot doesn't take a long time. And there we have it. That is how you use Nutanix Move to migrate from VMware to AHV. Thank you very much for joining me and watching this session. I would really appreciate somebody commenting on a video. I don't know why I want that to happen so much, but I really do. Preferably not someone from Russia who's trying to get us to go to some shady website. So anyway, have a great weekend. Comments that you could provide would be topics that you want me to cover. Could be anything with Cohesity or Nutanix or VMware, as long as it's not vSAN, but just regular VMware would be fine. I could bring in some guests to talk about some topics. Please just let me know what you want to hear. I'm not 100% sure. I have a lot of monitors, so sorry I'm looking off to the side, but you know, I could cover some stuff, some more stuff with Cohesity, maybe protecting SQL, and maybe protecting SQL, doing some test dev stuff with Cohesity for SQL and VMs and stuff. I could certainly do that. Yeah, just let me know. Thanks, everyone.